If you think you're going to get away with looking at signs, no chance.
Did he get another one? Did he get another one? Yes, he did!
Pitching Ninja. We got sliders and fastballs and curveballs too. When you step in the box, man, you're gonna be through.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pitching Ninja Show. I want to remind everybody, hit the subscribe button. Please make sure you never miss a Pitching Ninja show because we're just two great guys. So hit that subscribe button. I am Pitching Ninja. And as always, I am here with my awesome producer, Will Leahy. Hey, Will.
Hey, Ninja. What a wild week of baseball we had. deGrom assassinating 15 more batters en route to a two-hit complete game shutout. We had a gent by the name of Kent Emanuel making his MLB debut, and he threw 8 2/3 shutout innings. Nope, that's not true. He threw 8 2/3 innings, gave up 2 runs. So even though he pitched in 9 innings, he does not get a complete game there, but he does get a complete shout out from the Pitching Ninja show.
North Carolina guy. I'm a North Carolina guy. Hopefully this is the start of a long, long career. I know it's been a hard road, but love it. Very excited to see him start off like that.
It's exciting to see, but not as exciting as seeing Savage Kyle Hendricks back in action.
Now, Savage Kyle Hendricks has had a tough year. Like, I love Savage Kyle because it is the alter ego of Kyle Hendricks. Kyle sometimes comes off as super vanilla, but those who know him know that he's got this little mean streak called Savage Kyle in there. And Savage Kyle showed up this week. Solid outing by Kyle, and you can see him walking off and that gleam in his eye. He is a thug.
And then, of course, was the second installment of the best rivalry in baseball right now, the Battle of the Beach, San Diego versus LA.
Talk about must-watch baseball. There's so much emotion, such great athletes. Who doesn't like watching Fernando Tatis play baseball? I think this whole series is great for the sport. You have these little subplots in there.
What do you think about both pitchers and batters doing the infamous sword celebration now?
So I love it. For those who don't know, Will, who came up with the sword idea?
To the best of my knowledge, I think it may have been the Pitching Ninja.
It may have been. So I got it from bench warmers.
Hey, don't chop at it. It's not a sword.
So I use that for basically any crappy swing. And Trevor has taken off and run with it. And I love it. Like, dude uses it now in his K-strut celebration. And it's demeaning to the hitter. But you know what? It may motivate hitters to maybe do it back to him as Hosmer did this week. This type of interaction is kind of why people watch sports. They don't watch it to watch robots. You watch it to see personality, and maybe it just spurs everybody on to play that much better. Like, you want to F somebody up when they're trash talking you.
Which of course brings us to the long dong of the week. This week, it's going to Fernando Tatis Jr., who, although he's playing like a slice of Swiss cheese at shortstop, he is just hitting the absolute piss out of the ball. And he just did so this weekend by hitting 5 homers off one of the best pitching staffs ever assembled. So although it might not be a single homer, this collection of tape measure shots by Fernando Tatis Jr. has earned him this week's Long Dong of the Week award. Not
only that, so literally last week, I tweeted out Devin Williams K-ing Fernando Tatis. And everybody's like, oh, he sucks. He's overrated. He's, Kane all the time. What did it take? 2 days for that take to now be he's the hottest hitter in baseball and he's impossible to get out? Let this marinate. If a player is good, he's going to show it in the end. And if you see a guy like Fernando Tatis struggle for a couple of games, he's going to turn it around. The other thing I love about your pick here is that Tatis not only hit dongs, but he showed up. Like, he came out there and just mocked Bauer. He did the one eye thing, the McGregor-Bauer K-strut after his home run. Like, that stuff is what baseball should be about. You have a guy, who's sitting there and he wants to shove it down your throat. You were mocking him. Now I'm going to give it back to you. And that's why we watch sports. Like, we watch it for that type of one-upsmanship.
And props to Tatis, but props to Trevor. He's a complete asshole, a full heel, total troll, but he asks for this stuff. He talks the talk, but he walks the walk. he encourages it. He wants it. People will give him crap about, how it worked out from this weekend. It worked out great because everybody loves baseball and loves talking about it right now.
Well, you mentioned Bauer, and I thought Bauer's take on this was right. Like, I don't agree with Bauer on some things. This I 100% agree with him on, is that if you're going to do this to somebody and they do it back and you throw at them next time, that's soft. I mean, this is about showing emotion, a little bit of bragging on the field. There's just nothing wrong with that. In basketball, you dunk, you don't just walk off and act like you did it before. This is what sports is about. It's mano-a-mano, pitcher versus batter. You show him up, and then when he gets you, he shows you up. It is fantastic for the sport. If they're not having fun out there, why should you have fun watching it?
I'd also like to acknowledge Madison Bumgarner's no-hitter.
Well, it's not technically a no-hitter, Will. According to baseball rules, which I don't agree with. The game was scheduled for 7 innings. He threw every inning of the game that was scheduled. It should be a no-hitter. It's not a rain-shortened game. This game was scheduled for 7. He couldn't ask and say, hey, please, can I pitch another 2 innings so it could be a no-hitter? It was the entire game.
I want to say 2 things, then I'm going to go celebrate with the guys. I want to thank these Shadows in Atlanta. They helped me out a good bit. That's pretty awesome. And I want to thank Rob Manfred for making these 7-inning games.
Speaking of no-hitters, I was lucky enough to interview 2 guys who threw official no-hitters this year. It'd be Joe Musgrove and Carlos Rodon. So without further ado, here are the 2 official no-hitter throwers, Musgrove and Rodon.
Finally made it, man. And I've been watching stuff for a while, so it's pretty cool.
You have the best setup of kind of anybody that I've talked with. That's sweet.
I figured I'd jump on here and do it. Former streamer.
When you were growing up, was that something you ever dreamed of, is throwing a no-hitter in the major leagues?
I mean, yeah, I think it's something everyone, dreams of, and something you talk about as a little kid.
You don't think about that. You think about, game 7, or those are the scenarios you put in your head, but not like, hey, I'm going to throw a no-hitter.
But as you get older and, you see the level of competition that you're facing every day, it's, you want to be a good major leaguer. And some of those things are kind of just, things that will come along once in a while, and the opportunities don't present themselves that often when you see yourself in the 6th, 7th inning with an actual possibility to do it.
You were chill, and maybe it was talking nervous energy. Yeah. But are you always like that in a game where you're not?
Yeah, I don't sit down in one spot. I don't know if it's like either I'm a spaz or I'm just chill. It might look like I'm chill, but I might be a spaz because I'm constantly like.
This time around, dude, it felt different. I mean, this whole year, even my last 2 starts of the year, I feel like I found something with how I'm approaching the game mentally. And with this time around, getting into that 6th, 7th inning, there was no stress. There was no anxiety, no anxiousness. I felt extremely calm. I felt really confident in my ability to finish off the no-hitter. It was just a different feeling for me.
So I've been calling Roberto Perez because what were you saying to him?
No, I did. I just said, did it hit you? He said, yeah. Like, all right.
It was a nasty pitch, though.
Yeah, it's what you wanted, but I mean, they talk about back foot sliders. I guess in that case, you don't want to hit them on the back foot, but it did.
What was the switch that went on in your head?
My godfather's been a big piece of my life. We used to do a martial arts program that was, mainly our shoulder program, but it was also like a mental training. And they always talked about putting your focus on the task at hand and not looking past it, not looking, at what's already happened, just, trying to control that moment and kind of be more present in each moment. And we always talked about, not putting more importance on one pitch over another and not, turning it on when you feel like you need to, when there's bases loaded, no one out, and you got to get out of a jam, taking that same mentality that you use to get out of those sticky situations and, put that into play from pitch 1. You
were throwing the piss out of the ball late in the game. We're throwing harder late in the. Do you typically do that, or was that just saw the finish line?
That's been the trend probably throughout my career when I'm not hurt, but I definitely saw the finish line in that situation as well. So there was a little tick up from there when you have a no-hitter going or a perfect game going.
How big is it having a team of just ridiculous pitchers around you.
Coming into a staff like that, I want to keep up with these guys. You know, I don't want to be the one holding this back. So I feel like that's, you know, letting me tap into a little bit extra. But there's so much to learn from. I mean, these guys have all pitched on the biggest stages, and especially a guy like Darvish, who was with the Dodgers, a guy like Snell, who pitched against them in the World Series last year, and Vic, you know, coming and catching Darvish for the last few years, just learning how they use all those weapons. When you got so many weapons you can use, you know, how are you deciding which ones to go to, and how do you dictate, you know, when to go to them? So having a guy like that around has helped me a ton.
Does it give you confidence for the rest of the season? Like, right now you're very confident, I can tell, from watching you pitch.
After that first outing in spring, the confidence came back, and then that first start where my fastball was lively and I was throwing it by people. That's when my confidence like really started to pick up, and I just tried to take that into every start in this season. And then, I mean, when you throw a no-hitter, it's hard not to be confident in your stuff. I'm a rhythm pitcher, and I'm a guy that pitches with emotion. So when I have that confidence and to think that no one can hit me, it makes me a lot better.
You said he helped you through the no-hitter too, that he helped you through getting through some rough spots, calling the right pitches and stuff like that. What is that like?
Vic's just been so good, man. He's got, like I said, he's got a really good idea of how to mix with, you know, so many weapons and how to keep guys off balance. He knows the right times to use the fastball and the right locations to use them. He knows when to go in for aggressive hitters to get quick one pitch outs. Like in that outing, the only reason we get that deep into the game is because we threw a couple first pitch cutters, first pitch sinkers in on guys' hands to get quick outs, you know, one pitch outs that allowed me to keep that pitch count down low enough to where I could go out for the 8th and 9th inning. So
I think that's something that the average fan doesn't understand, is how important that relationship is.
Yeah, man. And he challenged me throughout the course of games where, you know, the pitch that I feel the least comfortable with, you know, on that day, he'll have me throw it in certain situations where he feels like it's a good time to throw it, where the guy might not be very aggressive, where I have a chance to just get it in the zone and get a good feel for it. You know, understanding that those weapons are going to be important as the game goes on, and we have to throw them.
It was like a high fading changeup, one that like just like stayed on the same plane and just faded, and he hit it hard. His fastball up, it was a changeup up and away, and the changeup's like my fourth best or third best pitch, and I was like, all right, for a no hitter, screw it. And he hit it right at Yo, and I was like, holy shit, it worked.
Next no hitter, we'll get you on again.
I love that, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, bro.
It was good. It also feels good to tell people, it's just that they'll laugh in their face and say that I threw a no-hitter and they thought I'd never come back.
Now it's time for PitchingNinja's top 10 filthiest pitches of the week. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to get that right some point.
I've been cutting it to this point, but you kind of nailed it right there. So maybe it'll make the cut here today.
At number 10, of Garrett Cole's wicked 91-mile-an-hour slider that absolutely falls off the table. Just wicked stuff. Number 9, Dustin May is always filthy. He's now getting strikeouts, though, because he's added his wicked curveball, which is over 3,000 RPMs, to his already sick upper 90s, 100-mile-an-hour sinker. Number 8, Kendall Graveman's slider. This slider absolutely eats up Marwin Gonzalez, hits him straight in the knee on a full swing, adding injury to insult. Number 7, and this is just handicapping, grading on a curve, Emmanuel Classe's cutter. 100 miles an hour. This pitch should not be in existence. 100-mile-an-hour cutters are just unfair. Number 6, Blake Trinan just throws filth every time out. Here is a sinker and a slider overlay, and you can see how absolutely disgusting this is. Number 5, Aroldis Chapman splitter. Now, if you look at Aroldis Chapman's stats, I remember a couple years ago, everybody's like, oh, Chapman isn't that good. He's washed up. He's not throwing 105 anymore. Well, Chapman's striking out just about everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean just about everybody. He's got a 24 K per 9. Part of the reason why is he's added this splitter. And you can see this splitter, it actually almost functions like a baby knuckleball in that he takes a ton of spin off it and you don't know which way it's gonna go. Number 4, Yu Darvish. Actually, both of these pitches probably could stand alone be on this filthy pitch list. He threw an absolutely disgusting slider and then a wicked two-seamer. But the key to this is if you overlay them, you can see why hitting is impossible. Number 3, Devin Williams' airbender. It basically makes a list every week because it is the filthiest pitch in baseball. This one was particularly filthy. 3,000 RPMs, just incredible for a changeup. You can see 3,000 RPM curveballs or sliders, but changeups typically are 1,800 or below. So that ball functions like a slider, and you can see it just F's with hitters constantly. Number 2, Jacob deGrom. He should be number 1. Like on any normal list, he's the best pitcher in baseball. He's ridiculous. He's sick. He had like a career high 15 Ks, 2 hits. I showed this week how he's almost like he needs to strike people out like he needs to breathe. If you look at the look on his face, it is always like desperate to get a strikeout with 2 strikes. And I think most folks think he's a chill, laid back dude, which he is. But on the bump, that dude is a freaking killer. But I just couldn't put it above my number 1 pick. My number 1 pick is Kenley Jansen's alien cutter. This freaked people out because, again, like Chapman, people are like, Kenley Jansen? Oh, he's washed up. He was never that good. If you look at his history, Kenley Jansen was one of the best closers in baseball, maybe the best closer in baseball. With like a 13 K per 9. Absolutely filthy. He was throwing 96-mile-an-hour cutters years ago and has his velocity back. It is an alien pitch. Nobody should throw it. This pitch is absolutely filthy and as nasty a pitch as you will ever see in the game of baseball. As always, thanks for watching the Pitching Ninja Show. Please make sure to subscribe. And until next time, I'm going to K-strut on out of here. Keep throwing flames.
Strike